Hello everybody, Dave here from Submyt. Today we're going to go through the logged in experience. So regardless of what plan you have, be it our Discover plan, our Care plan or our Core plan, I'm going to take you through what you should expect to see and a little bit of a go through the transactions page, the capital gains page and a couple of other little bits and pieces that we have to show for you. Let's start with the getting started page. So this is mainly for our care products because there's a few more steps involved in signing up and verifying and linking accounts and all that. But our getting started guide really just brings you through the first fundamental steps like verifying your account, revenue linking, and then finally adding transactions, the filing process. And this is available for everybody. Of course, if you need some help, you just book in a slot with us. We'll go through a 45-minute induction call, or indeed anything that you want to talk to us about when it comes to your capital gains tax filing for your stocks. And before we get into the transactions, capital gains, and the meat of what we're here to talk about today, just want to point your attention to the likes of our resources tab that goes through the dashboard itself. Now, the dashboard we refer to is the transactions and capital gains piece, but it gives you a good bit of information as to some of the common things that you might have questions around, along with a bit of a capital gains overview as well, should you want to know at short notice what the deadlines are, how do you pay it, etc, etc. We also have a referral program that we're very happy with. So we will give people who refer successful referrals, that means somebody who you've referred that has signed up, paid and is active on our system, €20 every time you refer somebody like that to our platform. Lots of details in the referral program. You go into the referral area, that'll give you your own unique link that you could share with your friends, family, or the social following that you have, or indeed if you're an industry professional, you can refer clients to us, and of course we'll be glad to help them and yourself out with their capital gains needs when it comes to their stocks. Let's get into the heavier side of things and where you'll be spending most of your time. What we're in now is what we call the transactions tab, and it shows what our overall portfolio net worth is. So you'll see at the top here a portfolio value of nearly €23,000. What makes that up? Well, it's basically everything that sits in this box here. It's all of our current positions that we still hold. You'll see a sellable tab here. It's the summation of all of those versus the asset pricing. Now if I could direct you back to the top again, you can see it's in two currencies, US dollars and euros. That's because some of these assets sit in different exchanges. So Meta, platforms incorporated, live on the US stock exchanges, so everything is traded in US dollars, whereas Bank of Ireland Group, this particular version of it, sits on the Irish Stock Exchange, which trade in euros. And so we account for that. So this portfolio right now has nearly €1,800 of euro value, whereas the US held assets are nearly 24,500 US dollars. The assets themselves update in price every day, so you'll see that we list the current price of each asset sitting there. So we scrape the trading indices every single day to accurately price what those assets are selling for. And so the number that you see up there is a really good approximation of what your net worth of your unsold assets currently are. Of course, you can always download history down at the bottom, so you can pull out the information that you want if you need for record retention, passing on to an accountant, anything at all like that. Now let's talk about adding a transaction. It's really quite simple. We look up our asset name. Now the fastest way to find an asset name is to use its designated ticker symbol. That's the short code for every asset globally. And when we enter that in, we should see PayPal Holdings as logged here under the NASDAQ, and that's the one that we're looking for. We can of course search by using its full name, if I can spell it correctly, and you'll notice it's the second one listed here, and this is why we say typing in the ticker symbol generally nets you the best result the first time around. But let's go with PayPal in this case, and we're going to buy some PayPal, or we've just bought some PayPal. Let's say it's a restricted stock unit that just vested. So you can change that to vest if you want. That's just a vanity thing. The only thing is these two are on the buy side. This is obviously on the sell side. So let's just say it's a vest. Same here with the transaction type. That's for your record keeping. It makes no impact whatsoever on the tax treatment. Let's just say it's a restricted stock unit. And today, well, let's go back a year. Let's say it's the 8th of August 2024. It's checked. Press U to get to US dollars. Number of shares, let's say it's 10. And I'm guessing the price of the shares here, but let's say it's $71.52. Let's say there's no broker fees, and because there's no broker fees, I don't really need to change the currency here. But if I did have a broker, well, let's put in €1.50. And broker fee, U for US dollars again, we add a transaction. And then you'll see at the top right hand corner, transaction added successfully. We go down to our PayPal holdings and we should see 8th of August 2024 restricted stock unit added. And when you click on any asset and then the subsequent lists of buys, vest, sales, it opens up an information panel. It basically reiterates what you entered at the time. So 8th of the 8th, that was the price per share we indicated. The amount automatically went up because of the volume of shares that we had being 10. It gives us the live pricing in euro. We priced it at €1 equals $1.09.093 on the day you purchased it. That was the 8th of August 2024. We do that for you. Broker fees, again, same exchange rate because they're incurred the same day. And of course, you can edit or delete them. So let's delete it. Look at the top right, you'll see it was deleted successfully. Fantastic, it's gone. And that is fundamentally our transactions page. If we look at sales, you'll get more information. So because there's more work involved in terms of working at the sales, because we have to work out cost bases and run the model in the background, it'll show you the same information that we had before: exchange rate on the day, prices in euros, all that kind of stuff, the date, the volume, all that stuff. And we can edit and delete again. But we have one button here that's different, and that's the purchase lot details. And that gives us the tax treatment that we applied at the time these shares were sold. Okay, so come tax time, this is where people would typically spend most of their time on our platform. With the capital gains tab, as soon as you enter a sale and you've selected the relevant year that the asset was sold in, it will appear in this panel below. It lists every sale that's within that period that we've run our calculations against. And as you enter sales in the transactions tab, they'll appear here for you to reference back to very quickly, instantaneously, as soon as you add them. And the reason we do this is twofold, really. It's because the periods within which you must pay the revenue commissioners are well in advance of when you actually have to tell the revenue commissioners what you sold in 2024. And for an example of that, the due date for filing for 2024 is this October 31st. But you needed to have paid for the sales of those assets in 2024 at the latest by January 31st. And that's dependent on the period within which you sold them. So let's spend a couple of minutes on looking at what is actually detailed in this page. So as I mentioned before, these are the assets that you sold in 2024. Select the year, you can go back as far as you want as long as there's assets there. This is the subtotal of everything that we sold. This is your annual allowance, the approved deductions, and your carryover losses that we would have filed in previous years that we can now use against our taxable total for 2024. And taxable total in this instance is factoring in all those allowances, losses, what we paid for the asset, everything in the organised structure within which revenue demand we calculate them. And so here we see in period 1, these are for every asset sold between January and November must be paid by December 15th, 2024. And so in this case, we didn't reach the threshold because the allowance, losses, etc. had us covered. But we had more sales in December. And so we run out of allowances. And so with our gain that we made in December, we do owe taxman some money. Then we panel it all out into one simple read for the summary of the year, which is your total gains for the year, or losses in some cases, our taxable value total, and the capital gains tax owed at 33%. And because we only service stocks right now, it'll always be at 33%. Then of course we can change settings. We can do approved deductions, whatever they can look like, such as fees. For professional services, they could be the spread that your bank charges to convert your dollars back into euros at source, etc. Things like that can be added here. As long as they're approved allowances as outlined by revenue, you're okay to do it. We allow you to move the allowance allocation between periods. So you might want to take the tax punishment in the first period, knowing that, say, Christmas is coming up in the second period and you don't want to have to pay it in January, or vice versa, whatever suits your needs. And finally, you can generate your tax summary. and you can use that to give to your accountant. You can use it as a guide to help you fill in your CG1 form. We have how-tos on that on our channels, and we have some documentation that supports the filing for those things as well. Or of course, if you're a care member, you can submit for filing and we'll just do it for you and look after you. And so that's an overview of our system, and has loads of features. It does everything automatically for you straight away. You can download your summary statements, you can give them to other people to do the calculations for you if you've got more complex needs than what we cover. But also I'd like to remind you, we've loads of other things that we have. We've obviously got the Partner With Us and Earn, the referral program. We've got some online calculators. If you are late in filing, we can do some penalty calculators there to give you a good estimation of where you're at. There's some capital gains tax calculators if you're in a rush and you don't want to log into the system, you can use. There's the first in first out calculator if you want to learn more about how that actually works. And then of course, one we're particularly happy with, if you received discounted employee stock, you can use our employee share discount calculator if you're overdue on filling in your RTS 01 forms pre-2024. So sign up for an account. We also offered free Discover accounts if you want to go in and experience this without paying a subscription. And we hope to see you soon and hope to serve you soon. Take care, thank you, and goodbye.